to the Force Awakens. My name is Diz, aka David Zammit. Let's get on with the show with the news, the views, the reviews, and interviews. Making news today is pretty much nothing. No news is good news. With anything, the only news that we really sort of need is something to do with Mandalorian and Grogu. It's fast approaching. No next or real big trailer yet to impress us, but we could be getting this possibly at the Super Bowl as a little tease or something like that. And also the Super Bowl, my prediction, which is not a news story, but it's a prediction, is that we may get something for Starfighter, which is coming out in 2027. Sean Levy directed. It's going to be the next real big Star Wars film, I think. But anyway, so that's it. There's no news. That's good news. Let's get into the views. Views is my story idea where I let you know of a story that I have with Star Wars. But to let you know that I do accept Star Wars for what it is, because that's the story that's been told to us. It's a great adventure in space, as we know. And my view this time is to do with a bit more what I've touched on before, but is important, is relevant, is Daisy Ridley's character Rey, or known as Rey Skywalker. But anyway, I just think having her mentioned to a large degree, or even a small degree, in Starfighter is a story idea I wouldn't do. And that's my story idea, because I think it needs to really start fresh and have, just an even playing ground with everything. Obviously having that used future feel about Star Wars with that style, whole lot of new sort of aliens, droids, but there's got to be a relevancy to that, because technically Starfighter is set 5 years after the Rise of Skywalker Episode 9, so there's going to be people or aliens or droids that know what happened, especially with the Emperor, especially with the whole rebellion fleet coming along and the Empire was there. So someone's got to know in the whole galaxy, because it went really far in the one side of the galaxy from the other. But anyway, so that's my story idea, is not to have the story idea of Rey being sort of a part of Starfighter. In future, well, that is to be questioned later on. Anyway, so let's get into reviews. Reviews is this time a classic droid. This is one of the fan favorites, as well as probably my favorite. Not my favorite, a favorite. This is from the Rogue One series of collective figure collecting. That is K250. Absolutely great. You think they got it right with the first time with C-3PO, but this guy, he rocked it as well. Unbelievable. That's the packaging for Rogue One, which was not bad packaging, but that was, a bit scaled down from the Phantom Menace, but it was Phantom Menace. This was scaled down a bit after The Force Awakens. But it was a great movie, great character, and great sort of backstory as well. K250. That's it. I got it right. K250. That's it. This here, I would probably give a 9 out of 10. Anyway, that's my figure of K250. Rogue One. Anyway, let's get into now interviews. Interviews is usually the questions I get on my YouTube channel. And that's because I don't have an X or Twitter or Instagram designated for this particular channel at this stage. I did have one many years ago, but I just left it. I'm finding it just easier this way and sort of more direct and simple. I don't want to sort of go crazy having all these sort of variants in a YouTube channel at this stage anyway. But let's get right into the questions, and you can send your questions, or you can send in trivia type questions if you like, or which I'm not Mr. Trivia with Star Wars. I'm just saying that I'm not Mr. Trivia, but I can answer some things. I'll probably Google some of these things. You can send in your comments, whatever you like. I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, the first question is a fan favorite of the show, Michael from Werribee South. His question is, the kiss with Kylo Ren, Ridley, was questioned on whether the kiss between Rey and Ben Solo at the end of Rise of Skywalker felt earned. She stated she felt it was a goodbye to the character, her work, and that relationship. What do you think? I think the whole Raylo thing that was happening then, it was quite big. It was a cringing moment with a lot of other fans. I just took it for what it was. I didn't think it was absolutely necessary. I thought even though they're dyads in the Force, which is connected sort of in the Force, I think the kissing part sort of didn't really need it. It was sort of inevitable in a way, and it was sort of not needed as well. What I think, I don't think I would have done it, but I accept the story for what it is. It's they do have a love for each other, but they also are sort of like brother and sister in the Force, which is quite an unusual workaround in how to explain everything. But anyway, that's what I think. I wouldn't have done it, but it's happened, so let's just accept it for what it is. The next question is coming from Michael from Werribee South, and he's saying again, not again, but defending the fandom, contrary to some media narratives, Ridley has said that her personal direct interactions with fans have been overwhelmingly positive, not generally sexist, defending fans against the idea that they are all toxic. What do you think? I'll tell you this. When I'm at Star Wars Celebration, you don't even think or remember the toxic ideals within Star Wars of today. You just go there and it's not like we're hippies or anything like that, but it's just a desire. There's just a desire at Star Wars Celebration. And this even was in Japan. And this is, long after a lot of toxic behavior has happened. But I find it's just an invigorating place. It's got great panels. It's got great sort of stores. The only thing two things I'll say about Star Wars Celebration I do not like is the people who put it together, Reed Pop, because they have got a very disorganized way in, allocating for the popular panels. That's in my opinion. And I also thought the wait and to get into the Star Wars shop itself is a bit overrated. There's some good stuff in there, but you're waiting in that line for 6 or 7 hours in the beginning. And I don't know if the stuff in there is as great, because the stuff that's on the Star Wars the actual floor, the actual almost like shopping center, is so much better. It's just great. That's the two parts. Anyway, but going back to the whole Daisy Ridley thing about the toxic sort of feel, I just think the events that she goes to, she probably doesn't hear it, but there is a lot of dislike to her character, not her acting, but her character. And I think that's a little bit unfair, because I don't think the character is that bad. I think the character is good. Personally, I even think the part of going from Rey Skywalker is a really good psychological edge that is simulated in life. It's like, someone being adopted in a way, because they need to be adopted. And obviously she was, fathered or grandfathered by a really bad person, which was the Emperor. That's bad. But anyway, that's my sort of thought of that. Anyway, the next question is from Michael from Werribee South again, can you believe? Daisy Ridley has called out certain parts of the fan base for being too vicious in their critiques of The Last Jedi, noting that while feedback is fine, the personal attacks felt extreme. What do you think? I'll tell you this. The Last Jedi is a very original stepping stone for Star Wars. I was craving a real original film. We got it. I don't know if I actually loved the film. I can say that I liked it, but I didn't love it. But I thought the whole Luke Skywalker death thing, from my point of view, was justified. I didn't sort of think it was... I thought it was going to happen in the next episode, which is episode 9. But it really did sort of took us off guard. I thought the whole lightsaber sequence with Snoke, Kylo Ren, and Daisy Ridley was a great sort of lightsaber sequence, but I hated the actual background. It looked like a red stage in a TV studio. That's what I think. But I think it's an original step that was good. But I think there was a lot of sort of things in there that sort of made it a bit cringeworthy. I thought the horses on that uh, planet with Finn and his girl at the time was sort of riding on. I thought they were a little bit weird. But, you know, it was original, but I don't think I'd watch it over and over and over. I still would watch something like Return of the Jedi over and over. I actually watched The Force Awakens over and over, and can you believe it? I know this is going to be really weird, but I can watch The Rise of Skywalker over and over The Last Jedi. That can be weird for a lot of people, but we all have our own opinions on things. Anyway, so that was the last question from, can you believe it, Michael from Werby South. Unbelievable. But we have a comment from a JPI20. JPI20, he has written the one picture no one asked for, which I think we're talking about the a Ray movie, because I spoke about that on the last episode, working towards. Now, no one has asked for it, and I agree. I don't want a Ray movie. I think standalone character films is not what Star Wars really is about. It's about the epic, universal battle, psychological edge storytelling. That's how I see it. I will say that I think Rey is good in a movie, but as a standalone film, no. In fact, I would think Darth Vader standalone film would be great, or even a Darth Plagueis film would be great, but I'd rather move away from that and just keep on moving forward with episodic saga as we know. Keep on going. Just keep rocking, because that's what really is juicy, exciting, thought-provoking, and, you know, the future. Anyway, so that is my show for this week. Please, you can subscribe to this channel if you like. The Force Always. I'm here about 3 times a week. Sometimes 4, sometimes not 2, but more like 3. With the news, the views, reviews and interviews on Star Wars and sort of stuff that's connected to Star Wars. As you sort of see in the background, it's mainly Star Wars, but there's some other items in there. This is a beer bottle, but I don't talk about beer. But anyway, and this here, that's a soccer scarf or football scarf from the country Malta. It's my favourite football team. But I don't really talk about that. But it's all a bit of a mixed match here. It's all about having a bit of a sort of, you know, candy for the eyes. Sort of have a look. Anyway, until next time, my friends, keep rocking.